about what we've got. Out of all these unknowns, what should we focus on first? It seems you found the path of logic.
I guess so. The explanation for the trick must lie in this hypothesis.
The truth lies in the flame.
Apparently.
It'll be a while until the police arrive, but until then, everyone please stay here.
Ma'am, may I please be excused to go smoke?
No.
Smoking so much takes years off your life, you know. I'm sure it can wait.
Fine, whatever, Your Highness.
I need all of you to be here, because one of us just might be the killer. If my reasoning is correct, that is.
Well, I guess I'll hear you out. It'll help pass the time until the police get here.
We got the oldest, crotchiest guy to be you.
The victim was a detective who called himself Makoto Nishimari. He died under a tree near the storehouse, with a sword buried deep in his chest. But what exactly does this really mean? It takes a lot of strength to push a sword so deep.
So, do you think the killer is a man?
I didn't say that.
Maybe not, but what else could you mean?
Are you saying one of us three's the killer?
I'm no killer.
The killer is...
None of these three men.
The killer isn't one of the three male suspects.
What makes you say that?
First off, Mitsunori. The reason he's not the killer is...
I'm gonna say he was in Dad's room.
Yeah.
Mitsunori was in Ryoi's room the whole time. There's no way he could be the killer.
Are you saying Dad is his alibi?
You're right. That's what I mean.
You saw what state my father was in, didn't you?
Even if he regained consciousness, he wouldn't know if Mitsunori had been there the whole time.
Okay.
Okay, so it was the sword one.
You're right. Let me think of another reason.
Luckily, we're not trying to do this 100%ing, but...
No, we're just getting through the story of this.
But because the reason I didn't go for the sword one is because if it's one of the women, they probably figured out another way to get the sword in.
Yeah.
Which would also be equally plausible if you're missing a friggin' tendon in your arm.
The killer is... You said you have a severed tendon in your right arm from an old ski injury, which prevents you from carrying heavy things. That's why it's unlikely that you could push the sword in so deep.
But, Mitsunori, that injury has healed already, right?
Kazunaga, are you doubting me? This is as healed as it's gonna get. I have a medical certificate.
Next, Takehiko. Takehiko said that he was tending the garden all day. That means he wasn't inside the house, and he didn't have a chance to get the sword from the reception room.
But he could have gone into the reception room without being noticed, right?
No, he couldn't. Because...
He didn't know that the meeting was still going on.
Yeah.
Takehiko had no way of knowing that the family meeting had ended early, did he? He must have thought everyone was still gathered in the main hall. To get to the reception room, he would have to walk past the main hall. He would never go through so much trouble and risk being seen just to get a sword.
Well, that's right. It definitely wasn't me. You must believe me.
Finally, Kazunaga. You didn't leave the house between 1 and 1:30. The likely time frame of the murder. Yoko was at the entrance during that time and said she saw no one entering or leaving. She had a view of the walkways too, so she would have noticed anyone leaving.
What about leaving through the back door?
You're right. No one was watching the back door. If the killer wanted to sneak out, it'd be through the back door. But Kazunaga didn't leave the house.
How are you so sure?
Well...
Yeah, his footprints weren't outside the door.
And he didn't have shoes.
Yeah. But considering how wet it was outside...
Yeah.
Kazunaga clearly has big feet.
Oop, careful.
The ground outside the back door is quite muddy.
No, you didn't do it
With or
either.
without shoes, anyone would have left footprints. But there wasn't a single Kazunaga-sized footprint.
I guess you're not totally hopeless.
Thanks.
It's an honor to finally be praised by you.
So, who on earth is the killer?
Akari and I have been with Haruka the whole time. So our alibis are solid.
And it's unlikely that Yayoi was able to stab a sword into a tree, so that leaves...
Eh? You can't mean... It wasn't me?
If you were the killer, it doesn't make sense for you to claim that you were at the entrance. If just one person had entered or left through there, your testimony would be challenged.
So, the killer isn't any one of us here?
No. Only one person could have committed this murder.
The plastic water can we used to put out the fire.
Yes, just an ordinary water can. The killer used this water can in the murder. These flower petals here are proof of that.
They still look fresh. Newly fallen?
This water can was used at the scene of the crime and then returned to the back door. When we went to get them, I found that the inside of this can was already wet.
Right. It looked like something had been poured around that tree.
And that's the crux of the matter. This plastic water can was wet because...
I'm assuming it's water.
Yeah, really.
The killer filled the water can with water, using the hose near the scene of the crime.
What for?
For something indispensable to this murder. Namely...
Oh! That's interesting.
The pendulum?
The pendulum.
That would explain the rope.
Yeah, and that's how they stabbed him.
Takehiko, something went missing from the storehouse around the time of the murder, right?
Yeah, the rope.
The killer tied one end to the water can, then suspended the can from a nearby tree. Then they filled the can with water to create a pendulum.
So that's it.
After knocking out the victim with a blow to the head, they propped him against the tree and stabbed him. Then they used the pendulum to push the sword through his body and into the tree.
Like a temple bell hammer. So then, someone without much arm strength could have done it.
But even if we accept that possibility, we don't know whether the killer actually did that.
Ah, but they did. Something one of you said gave me a hint. Those words were...
I heard thuds.
Yoko, you said you heard a few faint thuds, as if something was hitting another object. That must have been the sound of the pendulum hitting the sword.
That makes sense.
When it was done, the killer emptied the water can, untied the rope, and pulled it down from the tree. If we assume the killer used this trick, then they didn't need much strength to drive the sword in deep. As such, 2 suspects come back to mind. The killer made a fatal mistake. So, who is the killer? Yayoi, you're the only person who both had a reason to use this trick and was able to execute it. What do you have to say?
I thought she might accuse me. But Haruka, your reasoning is full of speculation. You said Takehiko wouldn't have risked getting the sword from the reception room because Takehiko didn't know the meeting had ended early, so you say. But he might have seen it end, by chance, even from the garden. Yoko said she was at the entrance during the time of the murder. But no one can corroborate anything like that. And who knows if Mitsunori is telling
You walked past stinky dead body!
Please don't call me a killer based on mere suspicion.
You are absolutely correct, but I am still convinced you are the killer. And that is because there was a critical flaw in your testimony.
What is it?
Before anyone noticed the fire, you said these words. Do you smell that? Like something's burning. Your sense of smell must be very acute.
Yes, I do have a good nose. Though the rest of me is succumbing to old age.
In that case, it doesn't add up. There is something very strange in your testimony.
I don't have a clue.
I mean...
If you name a culprit who might challenge your accusation, you need to provide reasoning that decisively invalidates their rebuttal.
She didn't notice the body even though she passed by it.
Yeah.
X.
Oh, X.
You didn't notice the body when you went to the storehouse around 2 p.m. That's what you said, right?
As I told you, my eyes are bad. I don't know if I saw it or not.
That doesn't matter. But there is something you should have noticed.
The smell of blood.
The smell.
That's right. The murder happened between 1 and 1:30 p.m. Soon after, around 2 p.m., you passed that tree on the way to the storehouse. You should have immediately noticed the smell of blood from the body.
The stench of blood is really strong.
And if you had, you would have notified everyone immediately. But you didn't. Why? Because you? Yayoi, you are the killer. Am I right?
The question is why?
Yayoi!
I don't regret a thing. Long ago, I lost someone dear to me. Because of that detective.
He wasn't even using his real friggin' name.
Yeah, he was fake.
Have brought the tea. When he appeared today, all the anguish of that long-forgotten night came rushing back. I know the estate well, so setting the whole thing up was child's play. As he walked by, I bashed his head in with a rock.
It feels like in the reasoning part, a few of these clues could have been arranged better. I'm still digging how this game is set up. I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
It has issues.
Yeah.
How dare you! Yayoi, such vileness in this house!
Yoko.
Yayoi, please tell me one thing.
Who is the important person you lost?
Who was the important person that you lost?
I can finally let go of all this resentment. Someone of your age couldn't possibly understand.
Are you also the one who poisoned our dad? Answer me! Do you mean our father was really poisoned with that arsenic? What is the antidote?
I can't answer any of those questions.
Well, cut the crap! You did it, so you must know! No point telling us, huh? Damn it! Just hand her over to the police already!
But the police won't be here for a while.
Then we'll lock her up in the storehouse until they get here. Who knows what she'll do to us otherwise?
I have no objections.
The plot thickens!
Like, my first thought is like, is she related to the Scarlet people? I think you'd at least tie her up. And that was the last time we ever saw her alive.
I was about to say!
Okay, there's a save option. Because this might be a good stopping spot right now.
Yep. I am enjoying this.
Yeah, same. I'm curious to see where this goes.
Same.
So, until next time, folks, we're the Landstar saying thank you very much for watching.
Find the path of logic, or whatever the hell the catchphrase is.
Mm.
Yep.